Let's go.
The incident happened with my grandmother. My grandfather was a kind of exorcist who could communicate with jinns. Whenever he went out to deal with a jinn, he would securely lock the house, and no one was allowed to leave that day. One day, in a hurry, my grandfather left to confront a jinn but forgot to lock the house. By the time he reached the possessed person's home, it was already around 8 p.m. After a long struggle, he finally defeated the jinn and freed the possessed person. As soon as the jinn was released, it roared, "I'm going to your house." My grandfather replied, "Go ahead, do whatever you can." But then he suddenly remembered, he had forgotten to lock the house in his rush. Meanwhile, the jinn arrived at his home, took on my grandfather's appearance and voice, and stood outside, calling my grandmother. "Jomina, bring the basin for a moment." My grandmother thought maybe he needed to use the toilet, since village toilets were usually a bit far from the house. She came out with water but noticed that instead of heading toward the toilet, he was walking toward the garden. Instantly, she realized this wasn't her husband and quickly turned back toward the house. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew out the lamp in her hand. She started running back, but the jinn grabbed her from beside the courtyard, dragged her to the nearby pond, and began drowning her. At that time, my father's sister and her husband were in the house. In her moment of crisis, my grandmother managed to call out my aunt's name once, Akalima, and luckily, my aunt heard it. She and her husband rushed to the pond and found my grandmother floating unconscious in the water. They quickly rescued her, brought her inside, and nursed her back to health. The story could have ended there, but after that incident, my grandmother frequently had terrifying nightmares. To protect the family, my grandfather secured the entire house with iron bars and forbade anyone from going outside after dusk. As long as he was alive, nothing else happened. However, after his death, some neighbors claimed to see a figure resembling my grandfather sitting by the pond at 2 or 3 a.m. Maybe it was the same vengeful jinn, still seeking revenge, or perhaps it was my grandfather's spirit, still watching over us.